What's going on, Scorpio? And welcome to my channel, Alchemist. Justin here, and I hope you're having a wonderful week so far. So, for those of you who are returning, welcome back, Soul Tribe. I appreciate your subscriptions, your likes, and shares. Your support really does mean a lot to me, and it keeps us growing. And for those of you who are new, welcome. I'm happy your higher self has brought you here. We are in for an amazing journey. Now, the theme of this week's monthly spread is going to be love, Scorpio. Whether you're looking for love, in love, this one's for you. And just so you're all aware, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one. So take what resonates with you, leave the rest with me, and never force a reading on a situation, okay? So with all that being said, let's jump into it. Your space has been cleansed. Gems, feeling lovely. Just good energy all around here, Scorpio. So with this spread, I'm going to be pulling till higher self says stop. We're just kind of feeling the energies out here, Scorpio. And just so you're all aware, this is going to be, well, this reading and all of my readings, they're not a gender specific reading. So we're working with the energies right now. And oh, what an energy. And in case you all were curious, the deck that I'm shuffling is the Light Seers Tarot deck. And the Oracle deck that I plan, or that I'm going to be using, is the Anatomy of a Witched Oracle deck. And I'm going to include links for this deck and other decks that I like using down in the description box below. So definitely check that out if you're interested, Scorpio. Oi. But let's go ahead and start looking at your cards here, because I mean, just looking right off the bat, Scorpio, it seems like we've been in our heads quite a bit. You know, I'm wondering if, I feel like we're going through something right now. Maybe we're going possibly through a breakup right now, or maybe even like a separation or something along those lines. And I think we're just trying to understand what went down. And I feel like it's gotten you in this place of where we're not, resting properly. Maybe it's even starting to affect your everyday life, as far as like your work, how you might even be going just like through your regular day, as far as like, you may not be like, let's say if we were on like a workout routine, maybe we haven't had a chance to move the body as much, or maybe we haven't been getting outside as much. Because I feel like that this is something that might have been really close to some of you, if you're resonating with this thing. I feel like there was something where maybe there was a lot of passion with the relationship, but maybe that's just all it was built on. There wasn't any sort of depth beyond that, anymore. And I get, Scorpio, that's a tough one. I think that sometimes when we think about love and, finding the soulmate and such, I think we get sometimes so caught up in like that initial honeymoon phase that when things start getting serious, and I'm not saying this is you, Scorpio, but I'm just thinking just in general, that sometimes, when things start getting real, and we got to start settling down, start thinking, it's not that the love has gone away, but it's just like, you're in my space now, how does this operate, outside of yourself, I'm living through you, Scorpio. You're going to be the person who's going to be in my space. So it's like, what does that mean? How does that work for us, And if this is something where, Scorpio, if it's gotten you feeling like where it's like I was saying, it's like affecting your sleep. And maybe this is something that it could have been, a betrayal. It could have been maybe this person was unfaithful. Scorpio, this is a judgment-free zone. Maybe we were unfaithful as well. It's, I'm gonna kick it with you regardless. But, maybe there was some maybe kind of sneaking around, or, something possibly. And again, it's not, take it as it resonates. But, that's something, to explore, if that's been going, or, if that was going down in the past, what caused that? Was it something that the other person might have been lacking? Was it something that, let's say if there wasn't, as soon as things started getting a little more serious, maybe the passion kind of went down. And so after a while, maybe we brought that up, maybe it wasn't being received properly. And so we might have, maybe ventured out elsewhere, and it could, apply to the situation if it resonates. But, maybe that this, you or this person might have went to look for more. And Scorpio, where I know that can be a hard kind of situation to go through. When when we find out that maybe either you're not fulfilling this person, or vice versa, this person isn't fulfilling us, and then we start looking elsewhere. That's, I feel like, the time to when we need to have a conversation, because it could be just something along those lines, whether we're in something new or we've been in something for a while. That's something that, if you're even noticing those impulses, I feel like before we even act on that, or even, indulge that impulse, let's come at it from a different perspective. And I say that too, thinking about, you have a lot of Gemini cards here so far. Ten of Swords, King of Swords is Gemini's card, the Lover's Gemini's card. And I feel like that it may benefit us from looking at this from a couple different perspectives here. It's like, let's say, for example, if that is something that you did, we felt the impulse and then we brought it up, it wasn't received properly, and here's the thing: if the person doesn't, and this is whatever the situation, if the person doesn't respect you enough, Scorpio, to if you brought this up and then they're still maybe, and if it doesn't feel like we're vibing properly, and this person doesn't even want to put in the work, Scorpio, then as hard as that is, that may be something we may need to consider, instead of turning this into like an affair thing, where it's like whole kind of infidelity party. I think it may be time, or when that situation comes up, if the other person doesn't, if it's not still clicking, it might be time to let this thing go. And sometimes, I feel like that when we think about breaking up and all of that, that it's going to be the end of the world, or that we may not even be able to do it. But Scorpio, you're a lot stronger than you realize. And these relationships, however the situation goes down, it's not meant to, there's a lesson that it can come from this thing. Because, here's another perspective. If we're feeling this stuff, like if we're feeling like, maybe the person isn't passionate enough, and I don't know, like I think that really, when it comes down to it, Scorpio, communication is key. If this is something that we may be going through right now. And here's another thing too. When we start talking about, infidelity, and like maybe revealing the fact that we might have been maybe seeing other people or something along those lines, when we decide to tell a person that, let's make sure, what our intention is, because if we go to tell them something that, how do I want to put this? If we're going to tell them this thing just to make ourselves feel better, Scorpio, that doesn't feel like the right way to go about this. And I hope that makes sense. If you have a problem with this person, or how this thing operates, don't keep yourself in that situation. It's for either party. If this is something that someone is doing to you, you don't deserve that, Scorpio. And if this is something that you've been doing, that person doesn't deserve that. And I feel like it would benefit both of you to just kind of cut your losses and just call this what it is. Like, hey, right now, this was cool, but I'm looking for something. I'm looking for this right now, because maybe with all this passion, it could be maybe we're not looking for anything serious right now, and maybe this other person could be looking for something serious, or vice versa. I feel like, Scorpio, probably going forward, maybe making our expectations known. I feel like you don't have to say where it's just like, listen, I plan on being married in 5 years, so let's get thinking about that. But just like letting the person know, like hey, I'm looking for something maybe a little more long term, or hey, I'm looking for something a little more casual. I may have just gotten out of something. Maybe maybe we can see where this goes down the line anymore. But I feel like, yeah, just making your needs known, and then not holding on to because sometimes I think we may feel bad as well if, especially maybe if we don't want to do something kind of long term. I feel like maybe sometimes maybe you're getting a lot of pressures, just like, well, do you want to stay single for the rest of your life? That could be something that's going on. And Scorpio, if that's something that you're getting, this is your journey. I feel like it's something that you have to do what you enjoy, what makes you happy. And then again, if love, if like that soulmate and stuff comes down the line, then so it'll be, but in the meantime, I feel like there's nothing wrong with kind of navigating these waters right now, because maybe this is another thing too. Maybe we're trying to figure out, maybe we thought we were in a big love situation, and now we just want to be, we got hurt real bad, and now we just want to be just passion for a while. We're kind of, and you know what, while I'm thinking about that, Scorpio, if we're healing from something right now, and this is something for you to be mindful as well, if this is on another person's thing, just kind of keep eyes. But if we're healing through this, a pain through people, that's a weird place to operate too, Scorpio. This is an interesting reading. I feel like that there's just how you came out thinking quite a bit. I can see where this is. I feel like we're teetering between just like, where do we want to do? Like, are we, just like, does love seem like it's meant for me? Like maybe I'm just the type that's, I'm getting this feeling of just like a fear of maybe just being alone, possibly. In Scorpio, if that's something too, I think that if we're single right now, it may be time to kind of be with yourself right now and start learning to love yourself for a little while. And find out why there may be that urgency, if that's something that's resonating with you. If you that fear of being alone, what is that? And because maybe there's something that needs to be healed there. That might be why, if we haven't found, because usually I think that when relationships haven't come into our realm yet, is because we have things that we need to get taken care of first internally. There's some self-love that needs to happen first and foremost. I feel like before any type of real healthy love will come our way. And not to say that everything you've been in up until now hasn't been healthy, but that we could have been living that experience a little bit. We're keeping those. We could have been living that experience a little more present, and a little more just kind of free, I think, with this energy, because I feel that I feel like that there's some work that needs to be done, Scorpio. Something that there's some shadow work, or some internal stuff that needs to be done here. When I talk about the Two of Cups, I feel like that this is, and I think about the Thoth deck when I think about this card. It's love. It starts from within. It's getting acquainted with you and your higher self. And strengthening that bond. And when you go to navigate those waters, this is something that I feel like it's not anything to be afraid of, Scorpio. When we're by ourselves, this is an exciting type of time here. This is something that I feel like we should approach with enthusiasm. I was telling Pisces this in the readings that, maybe this is something where maybe we need to try going on a date with ourselves. If this is something that, if we were kind of feeling more, fear of being alone, maybe give that a try. I remember this woman, I used to work in food and beverage. And this one woman, I tell you, she was my spirit animal that day. She came in and lived her best life. She got a table for one, cute little table, like looking out at the city view. She got herself a bottle of wine, and she was chilling for at least a couple hours. Got her appetizer, got a salad, main course, dessert. Just, I mean, and I told her, I was like, I think I'm enjoying your date more than you might be. But I think that might do us some good, Scorpio. Maybe getting out and about, or treating yourself to a date, If and that too, if this is something that if we got out of something, that might do you some good. Just to remind yourself that you are stronger than a relationship. Relationships don't define you. They help when it's time to collaborate and grow. Your partner is there to help, lift you up, when we decide to put in that work. So I feel like with this, Scorpio, this is a whole bunch that was going on, and I hope you're following me, okay? But I think that if we've been feeling kind of maybe hurt from this situation, or maybe if we're feeling bitter about it, or if we have any sort of feelings that may be weighing us down and like lowering our vibration, Scorpio, let's start taking the steps to heal this thing. Because if we stay in this energy, then there's no growth that's happening, and then we're going to make the same type of, that's another thing to pay attention to, when we're looking for love. If we've been having troubles with love, if we've been looking for the one, but we seem like we haven't been able to find it, it's been just kind of like miss after miss, maybe have a good thing and then another miss. What caused those misses, and that's not like I'm saying that there's anything that you're the cause of this, Scorpio, but it's just like, is there a commonality? Is there something is there a pattern that may need to be addressed, that might need to be looked into? I'm getting ready to pull some oracle cards, Scorpio. But if there are any patterns that might be in this thing, something that we can adjust. Because if we keep just kind of going in blind, wondering what's going on, but then keep, kind of committing to the same type of situations here, then, at some point it's going to get to this place of, yeah, these duds kind of screwed everything up, but what do they all have in common? And you know what I mean, Scorpio. I'm not coming at you. But I just think that there's, I feel like, relationships, they don't need to be this end of the world thing if they don't work out. If anything, it just shows what you like in a relationship and what you don't like, and then vice versa. And you can learn a lot about yourself, because maybe you're the type, maybe you like when it starts, you're all hot and heavy, but then when it gets once we get in this thing, you're the more the type you want to kind of like King and Queen of Pentacles. We want to get a foundation, we want to get stable. Yeah, we can have a little sexy time every now and again, but we got to we're thinking about the good work. And maybe it's vice, it could be, you learn a lot about yourself, especially when you live with a person for or share space with a person. So just a lot to think about, Scorpio. That one, yeah, jumped out here. You know what, Scorpio? This is what I was talking about with going on a date with yourself. When was the last time we had some kind of fun, And two, that's something, it doesn't even necessarily have to mean that if we're in a relationship right now that this is over. This could be just as simple as, maybe we just need to talk about this thing. And maybe you need to have some fun. Maybe we've been in this place of, maybe it's been too much work, and we haven't made enough sexy time. Or just even enough time to have just be together, enjoy yourselves. Maybe go on a trip together, maybe go on a hike, we'll go for a walk, or go to the movies, go to a restaurant, go on a picnic, weather permitting. But yeah, definitely, maybe this is something where I just feel like maybe there hasn't been enough play, enough fun for you, Scorpio, anymore. And I feel like that would fix anything up, because Scorpio, I feel like too sometimes, when we get in stuff like that, it really sometimes is just a matter of, miscommunication. Sometimes if we don't discuss these things, then it's all up in our heads, as far as like what's happening. We have to guess, what this person is feeling. But instead of guessing, just ask them, like, hey, are we good? Is there something that I can maybe, spice things up, or are we coming on too strong? Like, what's our dynamic doing? We're your partner. partners. You're in this, it's you two against the world. So, and eventually it's not going to be that, we're all going to be working together here, Scorpio. But until then, we got both of those. Okay. But we got things that we need to do. Any more? So, Scorpio, now we got witch lungs in reverse. And you know what, even combined with this air card here, I feel like some of us might benefit from getting outside, just how these came up. I feel like and this is something I'm even learning too, Scorpio, that I've been trying to work in too. Even with the weather that's going on, if we can maybe take some time, get out maybe 10, 20 minutes, just go for a quick walk, just kind of get out and clear your head. Maybe we can that might help you make more sense of the situation, and it could be too, let's switch back over. When we go to talk with our person as well, if that's something that it comes down to, get outside, because maybe sometimes when we have, let's say this got like a disagreement or something like that, and if we try to fix it in the place that we had the fight, there still might be that old residual energy there, and then, it's kind of more activating we're operating from feelings more. And there's not that balance. But maybe, taking this out in like a more kind of public space is just like, okay, hey, it's just us right now, let's talk about this thing, can we break this, like what's going on here? And that's another one too that I like to mention, that when you're with your person, establish a judgment-free zone. I feel like, especially when it comes to, because this is like a contract between us, whether we decide to get married or not, we're committing our energies to each other. And you should be allowed to speak your truth, and whatever that looks like, and not to have it be where it's like under attack, it can become it creates a space of compassion, so that you can kind of work from, it's just like, okay, hey, this is blah, 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 this is everything that's going on with me, dump your purse out on the table, okay, I'm gonna dump mine out, and then we're gonna work through this thing together. So create a space like that. I find I feel like that helps too, and it could even help in kind of making a realization, even if we have to call this thing, at least we were in a space that there wasn't any yelling, that we came from head and from heart, and we came to this realization we're resonating the same now. And that could be nice too, Scorpio. I'm wrapping up, I promise. It can be, maybe you may not be good partners, but you might be the best of friends, or maybe could be good business partners, down the line. Who knows how, because these people come in our lives for a reason. It's not just random, it can seem random when we're not thinking about it, but take a look back at your past relationships. Is there a common theme? What have you gotten from them, and what has been the message? And there could be some good insight there for you, Scorpio. Even if we're if we're looking for love, we can find that one. But yeah, I think I'm gonna leave that there, Scorpio, because we covered a whole lot. So I dug that, and hopefully that made sense. Give it a thumbs up if you like that thing, and share this, Scorpio. If you know someone who may be going through this situation, because this could be. Even looking at this justice card here, maybe this is something where we're going through, I said last thing, maybe this is something where we're going through a divorce, or we may be thinking about divorce. I only bring that up just because that's something, the justice was looking at me, and but if we're going through a divorce, legal stuff sucks. let's just put it out there. Legal stuff sucks, but it doesn't have to be a battle. You know what I mean? I feel like divorces are as messy as we make them. And if you choose not to participate in the craziness, and it'll work itself out, Scorpio. I feel like, because it can be not great, but I tell you what, I've seen it where divorces can be very smooth. It can be and good, and something good can come from them. But that's all I had. Just a last little nugget there. Subscribe, hit that bell button. You get notified whenever these videos each week. I'm getting better about being on social media. got some stuff cooking up here, juggling some things, some self-growth that's going on. So stay tuned, Scorpio. It's all going to be worth it in the end. And then lastly, let's see, are we dealing with a Cancer here? I don't think we're dealing with a Cancer. You do have, you did have really strong Gemini energy coming through. If I had to pick something right off the bat, maybe some of us are dealing with a Gemini, possibly a Libra, possibly. But yeah, Gemini's the strongest energy. And then, that honestly, with this air card, that confirms, I'm feeling like an air sign's kind of might be, at least someone's got some, maybe they lean into their air sign because, fun fact. Oh, all that to say, let me tell you that first. All that to say, check out the Chariot and Friends. If you're dealing with a Cancer, have Cancer in your placements, I post videos Monday through Friday. All of that, this housekeeping is in the description box below. But I was going to say that maybe this person too, maybe they lean into their air sign a little bit, because I'm a Gemini moon, and everyone that I've met so far, or at least, when I tell them that I'm a Cancer, they're like, what do you mean? And this could be, that person could be, maybe they have a lot of air in their chart, or it's in a prominent place. So just something to think about, Scorpio. But let's get your surprise card here. I just been, the way I've been kind of pulling lately, I've just been just like a chatty Cathy. So just kind of settle in, Scorpio. We're changing things up a little bit. But from your first card here, we have the King of Cups in reverse. And then from your Oracle card, we have experience. And right now, some of us might be feeling kind of topsy-turvy and just not really feeling in alignment. Maybe you're just like, it's maybe the situation hit a lot harder than we thought, and it's kind of, we're having trouble getting adjusted. But Scorpio, this experience here it's growth. And it might feel kind of crappy in the moment. It might feel like, why did this happen? How did this happen? But when you get a chance, sit with that, figure that out. And it will all start to kind of make sense as we start to unpack this stuff and really kind of be with it and kind of dissect it and really kind of, comprehend what's going on here. It'll all make sense with time. So I think I'm going to leave that there. So thanks for hanging around with me, Scorpio. Stay safe out there, and you keep raising that vibration, and I will catch you on the next one later.